Sanitary pad company Libra says an advertisement depicting menstrual blood for the first time on primetime TV in Australia was aimed at breaking down taboos around periods, not shocking people. Hundreds of official complaints were made about the commercial that's part of Libra's Blood Normal campaign, including that its contents were offensive, too graphic, generally embarrassing and humiliating to women. But the Aussie ad regulator has dismissed them all. I asked Libra's marketing manager, Laura Demachi, what exactly was in the ad?
The ad showed essentially the day of a life of a female going through menstruation and having a period. So from the likes of, being at a dinner party and needing a pad and asking across the table for a pad, or walking to the bathroom and not having shame of putting a pad up the sleeve of your jumper while you're needing to go change your pad. So simple, everyday, examples of what it's like for women today having a period that doesn't necessarily get portrayed in that way. And that's really what we wanted to demonstrate, was that periods are normal and showing them should be too. So why is this such an embarrassing and taboo subject still today?
And I suppose one of the core things in this was the ad actually showed menstrual blood for the first time in an advertisement in primetime TV, as I understand it. What was the context there? What was shown?
So what we showed was, on the first clip, was a vial of what was intended to be menstrual fluid. It wasn't actually for hygiene purposes and so forth like that. But what that intended to do was to actually depict the colour of menstrual blood, which is in fact red, rather than what has been used in the past, which was blue. Because at the end of the day, we're not bleeding blue; it's red blood. So essentially, what we wanted to do was face this issue head on and actually show the colour of menstrual fluid in what it actually is, which is red.
And beyond that, what else? There was a young woman going to the toilet. She took down her pants, and what did you see?
So, we also had a scene where we had a woman going to the bathroom and pulling down her underwear, and on that pad was menstrual blood in terms of the colour being red. So again, for filming reasons, it wasn't actual menstrual blood, but it was the colour of menstrual blood being red. So depicting exactly what would be expected, of a female when they have their period and they go to the bathroom and what they see on their pads. So the way that we showed this through the campaign, whether it was, the woman in the shower and, the likelihood of having a bit of blood trickle down the leg, it was all sensitively portrayed in the natural course of what a woman experiences when they're going through their period.
So why do you reckon so many people kicked up about it, and how many people did complain?
Look, we went into this campaign knowing that it was, potentially going to be controversial. We knew that. But look, this all stemmed back from the research that we conducted originally. Libra spoke to over 1,000 men and women, and the statistics that came back were really alarming. So 85% of New Zealand women feel shame and stigma attached to period. And more so, we're seeing that 9 in 10 women are using avoidance behaviours. So they're avoiding talking about their periods, they're not wearing white clothing, or they're avoiding swimming. So we knew going into this campaign that there was potentially going to be some people that felt uncomfortable with the idea. However, overwhelmingly, we've had a really positive response. And, those people that have been positive about it feel that this is the time is right to be starting a new conversation around menstruation, and that really there should be no taboo, no shame or embarrassment attached to this conversation, and it's really needed today.
So the official complaints that went to the advertising regulator, how many were there?
The final number I haven't yet to receive, but I believe we had over 600 complaints here in Australia.
And what were they specifically complaining about? What bothered them?
Look, I think the key ones that we went through based on our review was that essentially they didn't want to see menstrual blood on television, and they even didn't even want to see someone asking for a pad in the open at a dinner party. That was offensive to them.
I've had a look at some of these, and one of the complaints says what's depicted appeals to pedophiles.
Oh, my goodness. I don't even have a response for that. That's absolutely rubbish.
Another one says that you wouldn't expect to see a faeces-covered anus in an advertisement, so that's their reasoning for not wanting to see menstrual blood. Your thoughts on that one?
Look, I think everyone's entitled to their opinion, and at the end of the day, we don't have the research to show that there's such a stigma attached to any other type of bodily functions, but what we do know is that there's a deep stigma rooted and attached to periods, and that's what here at Libra we're trying to destigmatise and normalise periods, and that's the agenda that we're on, that women today should not be shrouded in shame. They shouldn't need or feel the need to hide their periods, because at the end of the day, periods are natural, they are healthy, and, they're normal and they should be shown.
The other one was that it was the subtle demonisation of white people by showing a man engaging in sexual activity with a woman who was menstruating.
Beg your pardon, could you repeat that?
Yes, I can. Another complaint said that it was the subtle demonisation of white people by showing a man having sex with a female who was menstruating.
Right. So I think in the campaign, we showed many types of people from many different backgrounds. We showed a female at a dinner party. We showed what would be a male shopping at the supermarket, purchasing pads for their girlfriend or perhaps their sister or mother. So we showed various versions of everyday life of menstruation in today's society. So we had a number of expressions that was shown in our advertisement.
So were you aiming to, shock people with the ad?
No, it wasn't about shock for us. It was around bringing a conversation that isn't happening in today's society. The research that Libra conducted showed that there was just such a taboo and stigma attached to having a period, and the research also showed that almost 70% of people really want to see a more realistic representation of menstruation and periods in mainstream culture and advertisement, and being that on TV or in the digital platform. So whilst there is a taboo, the people are wanting change in this area.
Would you walk through the office with a pad in your hand going to the toilet?
Absolutely, no shame about that whatsoever.
And do you have blokes in your office?
We do. Actually, at the back, we have been manufacturing in Australia for over 40 years, and we are on a manufacturing site which is predominantly male-driven, and we've got male operators producing the products every single day for us, so we are heavily male-dominated in that space. So it's fantastic.
I'm interested to know, what do they think of the campaign? What do they reckon?
They think it's fantastic. I mean, they live and breathe this every day, and their response is that it's normal. So why is there an issue?
And that is Laura Demachi from Libra there, talking about the ad campaign that they ran in Australia. And if you are interested, the regulator in Australia, Ad Standards, found the commercial does not depict women in an unfair way or in a manner that's likely to humiliate or incite ridicule. The amount of blood depicted in the ad is not excessive or disproportionate and is justified in the context of an ad for such products. It also considered that the ad is communicating an important social message and promoting equality and demystifying menstruation.